Welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey. We are 189 subscribers away, give or take, depending on when you're watching this, obviously, from 194,500 subscribers, putting us into range for 195K on our watch party this Sunday. Make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out. Let's talk contracts. Not Dak Prescott, not CeeDee Lamb. Thankfully, those are done. But Micah Parsons instead. With the Dak deal out of the way, the next big contract for Dallas is what they're going to do with Micah Parsons. Now, Micah on his Bleacher Report show, The Edge, had this to say. A lot of fans are worried about me. I know I'm going to be a Cowboy. There's nothing like Cowboy Nation. The love is very mutual. The contract is not really what I'm worried about. If the contract, something like that happens furthermore, then that happens. But right now, we're focused on trying to be legendary. Be great and bring championships back to Dallas because that is what the most important thing is. Now, I fully expect a deal to not be done this season. And if you've watched the show, that's been the vibe for quite a while now for all the different parties involved. And frankly, even though I do have plenty of and have sent plenty of shade towards them for the handling of the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott contracts, I don't blame the Cowboys for not wanting to or not getting a deal done with Micah. He's straight up said, basically, I want to wait till next year. And that's fine, because he knows it'll probably end up being a bigger number next year. Stephen Jones saying something very similar, by the way. Right now, it's certainly not anything that's on the table. Micah made a conscientious decision that he thinks he can put together an even better year. I think he got off to a great start yesterday against the Browns. I think his play speaks louder than words. We'll go more in depth here on some of the Cowboys' options, their paths, what the contract cost is going to be very expensive. It's going to be at least $35 million per year and probably going to push closer to 40, especially with Myles Garrett also due for a new deal, by the way. So will the Cowboys end up getting a deal done with Micah Parsons? This is the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there. Y for yes or N for no. I do want to make one thing clear before we move any further here. The Cowboys unequivocally, absolutely, unquestionably have the ability to pay Micah Parsons and plenty of others. They're going to have upwards of $85, $90, $100 million in salary cap space this time or next off season if they do the things that they should be doing. And those are very easy things to do, mind you. This comes down to, okay, what is your best plan? You have an immensely valuable asset in Micah Parsons. How do you handle that? Do you pay him? Are there concerns about paying him? Is he worth more in a trade? I think you can have different opinions there. That's fine. This is America. But you need to figure out your plan pretty quickly. Now, if you don't believe me, here's what Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports wrote, talking with 2 league executives and a third source who has negotiated top-of-the-market contracts. The salary cap will not prevent the Cowboys from signing Parsons to a mammoth second deal. Teams run into financial barriers more often due to cash than cap considerations. Bengals. And the Cowboys have the cash flow necessary to fund Parsons' extension, if they so choose. The question is not whether extending Parsons is possible, but whether extending him is preferable. And if so, in what structure? You need, as the Cowboys organization, to make a decision early in the offseason. I have my fingers crossed and my doubts in place that the Cowboys have learned their lessons from what happened this past offseason. I'll explain why in a little bit here, but first, hopefully you learned your lesson if you forgot about a subscription that you didn't want to be paying for, but you were. Most Americans think they spend about $62 a month on subscriptions. The real number is closer to $300. That's why I like Rocket Money. It is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate to lower bills for you, sometimes up to 20%. Just submit a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has hit a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's features. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. That's rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. The link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. That's rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. You need to, as the Cowboys front office, make up your mind with what you're going to do with Micah Parsons and do it before free agency. That should be your deadlines make deals decision. You cannot make the same mistakes you made with Dak Prescott multiple times and CeeDee Lamb most recently. I don't want to have, if your plan is to pay Micah Parsons, I don't want to have a long holdout. I don't think that's beneficial outside of keeping your name in the headlines, which, newsflash, you're the Cowboys. They will find ways to talk about you. You don't have to give them reasons anymore. It's not 1992. You can do it now. It is fine. You also want to have the money available that you will benefit from extending Micah Parsons. We've seen it time and time again. The Parsons contract, the fifth-year option is going to be $21.33 million. Now, the franchise tag for 2026, that's estimated based on the previous year's growth. It could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower. Somewhere around $28 million with zero cap flexibility if you want to tag him. And then it becomes 120% in 2027, so around $34, $33 million. With no flexibility to load that contract into the back end. You have to take that $21 million cap hit, that $28 million cap hit, that $33 million cap hit. I don't want to do that. If your plan is for Micah to be around, I want to get that cap hit lower before free agency. And I want to have that money to spend on Bland, on other players on my roster, on an outside free agent to make my team better. You have set up your window. With the choice to pay Dak Prescott, your window is 5 years. And you kind of already pissed one away this year. You have that window. Because by the time that deal's over, Dak's in his 30s. We'll see how his game ages, but he's probably not going to be in his prime the same way he's going to be over these next few years. So do not waste chances to be aggressive. Backload that contract. Do it. Push it off into the future. I think you have two viable options when it comes to what to do with Micah Parsons. Option one is pay him early. Get the deal done. Give him that contract. Get the cap hit down lower, unlike you did with CeeDee Lamb. Have extra money to spend in free agency as a result. And spend that cash so you can build a roster and actually go for it in a way they haven't in a very long time. Option two, if you, for whatever reason, don't want to pay Micah Parsons, you trade him. And you actually win a trade the same way you haven't won a trade away a player in a fairly long time, it feels like, and you get multiple top 50 picks and first-round picks and day 2 picks and an early day 3 pick, and you get a haul back for one of the best young passers to ever grace the football field in recent memory. You go do that because he's on a Hall of Fame pace so far. So if you want them picks, okay, and then you take that $40 million, $35 million you're going to pay Micah Parsons, you get the cap hit off your books, and you throw it at other positions, and you still spend the money. Either of those plans, I can get on with that. I can get on board with that. But you got to be aggressive, and you have to change your approach more than you have previously. So what do you want to do with Micah Parsons? P for pay, T for trade. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. One little trade rumor before we go today. Bleacher Report advocating for the Cowboys to trade for a tight end after the Jake Ferguson injury. As a reminder, Jake Ferguson battling what appears to be a short-term knee injury, PCL sprain or MCL sprain, and a bone bruise in that knee. John Stevens, by the way, also banged up with his hamstring injury. That leaves two healthy tight ends on the Dallas Cowboys roster. It is Luke Schoonmaker, Brevin Spann-Ford. They can call up Princeton fans. We'll talk about Hunter Lipke here in a second, or on a future video. He'll probably be involved there. The solution for Bleacher Report was just trade for Harrison Bryant. Why? Harrison Bryant isn't good. Like, 239 yards at under 10 yards per catch. Why? Why? This honestly just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I have a very difficult time understanding the thought process and the rationale behind adding a mediocre third tight end or fourth tight end. Why am I trading for a short-term replacement? Are you going to give him 88 and steal it from Lamb and sell Bryanters again? No. What are we doing out here? Come on. By the time he gets into the fold, guess what? Boom. Fergie's fine. And even if you traded for him, you don't have a good tight end still. So I don't think it makes any sense at all for the Dallas Cowboys.